This is a clear slap in the face to democracy. I think it suggests that Trump believes he has completely normalized what happened on January 6th.
On MSNBC, the lawyers and anchors lashed out over this. A Trump-led tribute in Mar-a-Lago to the architects of the January 6th riot.
What Donald Trump did last night is a disgrace to this country. It's a disgrace to the Constitution.
What Trump did was show a documentary honoring John Eastman, the lawyer who was at the center of Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
Asked me to help design a strategy. One could not have predicted that that would subject me to years of lawfare, but I thought it was important to do it, to take on that representation.
We know that even Republicans in the Senate and the House were outraged by what happened on January 6th in the moment. Many of them issued stinging condemnations of Donald Trump. So for him to sit in Mar-a-Lago honoring John Eastman, one of the architects of January 6th, someone with a legal education who failed to honor his obligation to uphold the Constitution, that speaks volumes about where Donald Trump is as he embarks upon this second presidency.
And it wasn't just John Eastman who was indicted and disbarred that Donald Trump honored and elevated.
This event in which he welcomed not only John Eastman, but Michael Flynn, Jeffrey Clark, the man who had urged the DOJ to put out false statements about the 2020 election and who Donald Trump considered to make its acting attorney general before January 6th. They were up on stage. Rudy Giuliani was up on stage. Peter Navarro, who, of course, served 4 months in prison for contempt of Congress by not complying with the subpoena from the January 6th Select Committee. He was there up on stage. And
This is sickening. This is sickening. I am sick. Peter Navarro, Jeffrey Clark, the people that went to the Capitol to take up arms against the United States government because the the president of the United States at the time lied to them, because that's what happened. Those people are not patriots. What Donald Trump did last night is a disgrace to this country.
This, again, is Donald Trump spinning the truth, right? No surprise to any of us at this time that there is no concept of truth, that there are alternative truths in Donald Trump's universe. We all know what happened after the election in 2020. We all remember the phone call that Donald Trump made begging Georgia officials to find him the votes he needed because he had lost the count in that state.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
Let's remember, John Eastman was disbarred. As you pointed out, Peter Navarro served time in jail. Rudy Giuliani disbarred and is now trying to fight payment for after defaming election workers in a way that upended their lives. These are not patriots.
And yet here we have Donald Trump once again claiming through his proxy, John Eastman, that it was all lawfare, that it was political attacks. That's simply not the case. The American people spoke. Donald Trump and his insider circle did not want to listen to the voices of the American people. They took actions that were antithetical to our democratic system of government. Now they're trying to normalize it, to act as though it's okay. They need to do that, by the way, to cloak themselves in legal authority for this second term in office. This is a moment for Americans to resist that characterization and to push back.
And on this day, the pushback to the normalization or sanitizing of January the 6th, 2021 came from Vice President Kamala Harris. Just hours before she went to the Capitol to preside over the certification of Donald Trump's Electoral College victory in the 2024 election, Harris issued this video statement.
The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election. This duty is a sacred obligation, one I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people. As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles and to make sure that in America, our government always remains of the people, by the people, and for the people.
As the Mediaite headline put it, Kamala Harris takes shot at Trump in viral video ahead of January 6 certification. Indeed, the Harris broadside of President-elect Donald Trump was unmistakable. And the images of the January 6, 2021 riot remain searing and powerful. But as with most things, many Americans have a short memory, especially when it comes to matters involving politics and governance. And by all accounts, opinions about Donald Trump's Stop the Steal rally and Capitol riot in 2021 have shifted over the past 4 years. And that shift moved enough to enable Donald Trump to win the 2024 election. Here's the polling data breakdown from CNN.
If you go back, 4 years ago, right? Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible to be president. The clear majority of voters said yes, 56%, and that was including removal from office. But of course, Donald Trump won the presidency, and part of the reason why was because views on Trump completely shifted, including Trump's role on January 6, 2021 should make him ineligible for the presidency. By 2023, 2024, it was just 47%. So we saw this drop of about 9 points, and that, of course, is all the difference in the world, going from a majority to short of a majority. And, of course, Donald Trump won the vast majority of the other 53% who did not believe that his role on January 6th would make him ineligible for the presidency.
Yeah, still a big number, but not enough.
Correct.
Right.
This 9-point shift was tremendous.
So why was that the case? Well, according to the polling data, in January of 2021, 48% of Americans polled felt that Donald Trump was greatly responsible for the violence and January 6th insurrection attempt. But within 2 years, the percentage of Americans who considered Trump greatly responsible or largely responsible had dropped from 48% to 37%. In other words, by the time of the 2024 presidential campaign, nearly 2/3 of Americans did not hold Donald Trump largely responsible for the January 6th riot. And that takes us back to lawyer John Eastman and the other Trump cronies who tried to stop President Biden's 2020 election certification. The Eastman documentary focuses mostly on his efforts to find a novel way to stop the certification and on the subsequent criminal charges and disbarment that Eastman faced. Eastman is portrayed as a sympathetic figure, not as a violent extremist. And the documentary literally separates Donald Trump and his lawyers and advisors from the insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol building. It's as if one group, the Trump leaders of the Stop the Steal effort, had nothing to do with the people who actually went into the Capitol building, even though John Eastman, Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump, and others spoke at the January 6th rally, and Trump told the crowd to march to the Capitol.
Right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
But in Donald Trump's mind, and now in the minds of a growing number of Americans, there was nothing wrong with the Trump effort to convince then Vice President Mike Pence to not count the electoral votes. And when Pence did count the Biden votes and the Capitol rioters shouted, "Hang Mike Pence," well, that's just something to be ignored and to be forgotten. At Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump focused on Eastman's legal strategy, not the violence that effort sparked.
He said, "I'm a big fan of John Eastman. He was right. He happened to be right. That's why they changed the law." And nobody wants to talk about that. They said he's not allowed to do it. He's not allowed to do it. And they convinced him he's not allowed to do it. Our vice president. Then right after the election, they changed the law so he can't do it. So
indeed, after the election, Congress passed a law tightening the election certification procedures and closing the loophole Eastman saw regarding the role of the vice president. Still, in MAGA world, led by Donald Trump, John Eastman is a hero to be praised and honored, not a villain to be condemned. In other words, Donald Trump keeps digging in on the 2020 election lies, even though Trump could let them all go. And that underscores a key feature of what we may see in the next Trump administration. Reality may once again be flipped upside down, and all that matters is what Donald Trump and his cronies claim. Facts and basic truths are irrelevant. There is no requirement to prove anything, and democracy can and will be slapped in the face, as the attorney said on MSNBC. In other words, the frightening Trump legacy of January the 6th lives on. By the way, Donald Trump is getting shredded for his lies about the recent terror attack in New Orleans. And even Fox News is piling on Trump and issuing corrections.
Pure evil. Now, the former president said criminals coming in a statement, meaning into our country. But to be clear, Molly and Brian, the suspect was born in the United States. He served in the United States Army. He was a veteran.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Dean Allen, who wrote, "Caught lying? Has there been a day since 2015 that Trump hasn't been caught lying? Come on." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump getting blasted for the party in Mar-a-Lago honoring John Eastman and the other 2020 election denier leaders. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.